this popping, baby. Let's get this popping. Let's see what's going on. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. That's my thing. I've always done this. I don't know why. It's like, hi. Yeah. So, welcome to the Mary June Tracy show. As above, so below. Let's come on in and grab your coffee. Make sure. Ooh, look at. I don't have proper lippy on. Yeah, I don't have the lippy on. I got to get the lippy on. See what happens. Mm. So, how's everyone out there today? Let's see who comes in today. See what happens in my world. It's been pretty quiet where I am. The weather's been kind of off and on. I don't know about you. Um, so the world's still going. There's a new prime minister. I'm finding that almost like I really don't give a shit. You know, with a lot of the craziness that's going on. You just woke up. Oh my goodness. Well, be very quiet. Did you get your coffee? Be very quiet. Oh, it's kind of nice when you get to sleep in and sort of ease into the day. When my kids were little, and I would always get up earlier than them. Well, my thing is, I needed to get up earlier than them, and just to ease into my day, to get my coffee, to get things going. There's a new PM. I got so excited until I realized you were talking about Kier. Yeah, no, no, no. We don't have a no. We would go to an election, but in the States or in the UK, they just offed one and put in another. 6 PMs in 7 years. I'm voting for the cat. They got what is this? I can't remember the cat's name. Larry. I think the cat's name is Larry. Remember the cat's name. Larry the cat. He's the mouser. Um, my vote's on him. He's reliable. He's there. He catches the mice. He makes sure and he chased out all the rats. So it's interesting. The new guy, Andre, I think his name is, or Andrew, Andre. Anyways, he almost looks like him. It's like really weird. I'm slowly moving to the coffee machine. I have one of those Ninja Deluxe my son bought me. Ooh, Ninja Deluxe. Ooh, fancy. Hola. I will try not to call you mama, but no promises. You can call me mama. No worries. You get called mama all the time. Yeah, there's yes, yes. Hey, Christy. So, welcome. And today, at least the sun is out here in Calgary. There's no rain, no thunderstorms, so it's kind of nice. And was Christina and was the girl from foreign. Ooh, now you're Costa Rica girl. Whoa, love that. Love that. Mama MJ, Mary June, June bug. Exactly. Answer them all. I answer them all. Um, so just welcome everybody. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's as above the emotions are high. Yes, there's a lot of emotions. Jupiter is in Leo. Uh yeah, it's Mars is racing through. Mercury slowing down, will be going retrograde next Tuesday in Cancer. And we also have the square that's coming up. So there's a lot of like the energies are quite, I'm going to say thick. That's the word I get. They're very thick. The other thing is that there's that Brazilian psychic who says today is when a game in Miami. I thought it was Brazil and Scotland. I don't know who it is, but anyways, a game that's going to happen today, and the spaceship is going to come in and suck up over 700 people. That was the first thing, 700 people. Then she's claimed that it's going to be a lot of people. She's had 2 dreams about this, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm waiting. I'm waiting, you know, to and she said there's a lot of people crying. So maybe it's something else, though. Maybe it's a disaster. Maybe it's something else. I mean, those aliens came in at the mall in Miami a few years ago, and then you don't hear anything about that again. I think it's kind of like interdimensional energies that came through. There were clips of it, but it got all wiped. I think the thing, okay, we all know the government can wipe shit out whenever they want, right? Everything is surveillance like crazy, but if they don't want anything to get out there, it could disappear. It could disappear. I mean, if they can wipe everything, your ID, your info, who you were in this world, I think they can wipe anything out. So, um, and to have that many police cars for a fight or some kind of craziness in a mall, it's like, I okay, that's sus. That's sus. I don't that's just yeah, no, there's something else. I mean, someone said that if you turn the numbers around, they're the same as Antarctica. So it was like, whoops, we miscalculated and we landed in the wrong place. Plus, where did they go? Like they landed and then they're gone so quickly. So it must be some kind of um interdimensional energy, I think that came and then they're like, "Oh fuck, we're in the wrong place and we're freaking these poor humans out. Gotta go." So, a portal hole, definitely. Yeah, anything like that. Um, so I feel like there's, yes, and there's so much talk about aliens. I mean, aliens are coming in, alien this, alien that. Um, People are seeing, uh, things in the sky. Some, I think, could be true. Others, I think, because there is so much of AI generated that they can actually, put up into the sky to make you think that there's something there, right? And it's like, that's why I'm like, okay, if there is this ship, I want, bring it on, baby. Let's see what the fuck this is all about. And there's so much shows that are coming. Netflix just has a show on the Anunnaki and the Nephilims, and there's a lot of talk about that, a lot of talk about giants and Himalayan salts, and the Himalayan salts is basically giant DNA. So now we're ingesting giant DNA. So we're all cannibals. We're all cannibals. um, so I'm just like, okay, there's a lot there's a lot out there that's going on, and it's, and a lot of wormholes you can go down or rabbit holes you can go down. I go up to the planets and I look up and I say, What's going on today, guys? What's happening today? How is this influencing my life?" And that's where the energy has to go. How is this influencing my life? Got a new PM in the UK. Yeehaw. Had the G7 summit. Yeehaw. Uh, you know, it's like, how is that directly influencing my life? Like, really, on my day to day, right? I guess we are all cannibals because we have all had a cheeseburger from McDonald's. True that, So, I mean, yeah, and there's there's another thing, like, is that really true? It's just I was watching a video, and it was a really cool video on the trees and the tree Wi-Fi and how they connect and how the fungi gets to get all the roots connected in a forest and everything, and how they can, sort of communicate with one another, which is really cool. I believe plants can communicate. I really do because when you talk to a plant or play different music to a plant, they grow, they prosper, and everything else. But one thing she goes that there's more trees on Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way, and I'm like that kind of stopped me because I wanted to know who was counting the stars and who counted the trees. So Analogies like that just sort of throw me because I want to know, okay, well, how did you estimate that? What was your estimation? Did you go 3 across and 5 up and then you figured out that's how many there were? That's just not my thing. I'm just like, okay, I like to have facts. Give me a little bit more facts, right? And that's why let's look back up at the heavens and look where everything's going on. It's like, how is that frequency? Because it is as above, so below, right? And with the energies that are up, so how the planets rotate around the sun, how that gravitational pull affects us here on Earth. We all have witnessed or even felt Mercury retrograde. We all know, you know, when Mercury's retrograde. It does do. It's been proven. Even people who are like, "Oh, that's just sus," have like, "Oh my god, okay, Mercury's what retrograde, and this is what is happening." They've had their computers go bonkers. Commerce, because Mercury has to do with commerce, things to do with commerce, kind of goes offline. Things start going crazy. So we see that the world doesn't stop when Mercury goes retrograde; it still continues on. But there are things that do happen, right? I feel like with Mercury retrograde, especially in Cancer, and this is like, I mean, he's retrograding in Earth, I mean, in water signs this year. Yeah, yes. Is getting Mercury Scorpio is fucking worse. Like Mercury Scorpio, when Mercury, we're not there yet, but when Mercury goes retrograde in Scorpio, that, I mean, that's when crazy shit happens. That's when you're driving along and the lid flies off your coffee, and for some crazy reason, your phone just did a dive into the coffee. Crazy shit like that happens with Mercury and Scorpio. Mercury in Cancer, it's really about our home life. It looks at our safety and our security. So Mercury is really getting us to look at our safety and security. Now, where is Cancer in your chart? That's the next question, right? So if Cancer is in your, let's say, your 12th house, well, then you got a lot of things to reflect on, right? There's a lot of things that are coming in that you are going to have to look at, especially karmically, because that 12th house is the karmic house. And what are the things that are coming up for you to look at, to release, not so much dwell at? The other thing too is Chiron in Taurus. Taurus is about your values and what's going on with your values. Chiron brings up things that you, and especially in Taurus, about the things that you digest. So a lot of things to do with dietary come up for people in with Chiron coming into Taurus. So dietary, um, you know, the way you eat, the way you digest, the things that are coming in for you, right? And looking at your diet, looking at the things that you are intaking. And this also has to look at, okay, because Taurus does rule health. So it comes into, how are you taking care of your health? Now, again, what house is that in, right? Because Taurus rules the second house. And with Taurus ruling the second house, that has to do with personal self, right? Everything that's mine. It's a Taurus, like mine, 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 mine. Very luxury. So we have this energy that's coming in that is getting us to really reflect on the way we live our lives, how we connect with one another. And Pluto being way out there, like he's way the fuck out there. Like if when you look at the orbit of Pluto, it goes when it comes to the more personal planets or the personal signs like Aries and um I'm thinking Taurus and Gemini. He goes through them very quickly because he's very close to the sun, and then he zooms the way the fuck out there into Aquarius, and that's why it takes him longer to get around the sun, right? And being out there, he's basically offline. And as he's offline, this is when Pluto is in Aquarius, it has to really do with connection with humanity. So everything that's coming in, it goes it up to Pluto, and Pluto sort of looks at, is this a proper connection for you, right? Is this a proper connection? I think I will use this Mary Fields formula. I wish you could find Zoom video on when I had my natal chart read. Oh, my Zooms are gone. Yeah. Yeah, my Zooms are gone. Zoom, I stopped because I didn't Zoom just over the pandemic, Zoom tripled their prices. It was really fucking crazy. So, and then every time you recorded something, in order to keep it, you had to pay a lot of money, like, to keep it. Otherwise, you had to delete a whole bunch of videos and stuff like that that you did. So that's why a lot of corporations use it, because it is a good platform, but it costs a lot of money. I use Google Meet because it's cheaper and I'm able to keep all of people's, like, basically all of their videos, and then also store them offline as well. So, couldn't do that with Zoom. Anyways, Pluto. Pluto bringing in this energy, right? And looking at that energy and what that energy has to pertain to our lives, right? We'll get some funds in a few months and we'll have to do perfect. So this is what we need to start looking at within our own within our own lives. Now, when I do my little thing, um I did get the Queen of Swords this morning and the Five of Wands, both reversed. So the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords. Oh my goodness, the Queen of I don't give a fuck. When she's reversed, she's grumpy. Like things aren't going her way, right? So there's a lot of grumpiness that can come in with the Queen of Swords. And the energy is not asking, for us to conquer the world, or it's asking you to stop fighting yourself, right? And with the sun in Cancers moving into an exact square tomorrow with Neptune in Aries, and the moon right now is in Scorpio and it's squaring over to Pluto. And the emotions can be very tense. And Mercury slowing down, Jupiter's preparing to enter Leo, which will happen next week with the full moon, and Mars finishing its journey through Taurus, and then moving on. And so we're standing at a very powerful crossroads between the truth and illusions. That's why you're finding so much UFO. Look at this, look at that. All of eh, all of this energy. A Netflix thing on the Anunnaki. What Okay, I'm gonna just go back to that. When I watched it briefly and stuff like that, and then it was a lot of AI shit. What I couldn't f Why do they have the same spaceships? If that was 10,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago or whenever, w have they ever upgraded their spaceships? Like, why are they the same fucking spaceships? Why are they the same shape? Like, it's like the Model T is not the same the same car as what we're dri as the Tesla, right? 2 different, the style has changed over the years, right? I wanna know this. This is what I wanna know. Like, are they at the same everybody says they're so advanced. Well, if they're so advanced, then why is the technology still looking the same way? Why is that still the same as the 1940s when Hitler was doing all his experiments and finding spaceships and everything, right? Inquiry minds wanna know exactly. That that shit kinda gets to me. I want to know this stuff. It boggles my fucking mind because I'm, like, looking at it, I'm just like, "Well, okay, how is that alright? How is that the same? Alright." So they were talking about lizards back then and the people, and but they could see the lizard people back then because they walked around as lizard people, but now they don't walk around as lizard people because they've gone to a different dimension, or maybe they've gone into a different way of doing it, or I don't know. I don't know. But these the questions I want to know. with all of this energy that's coming in, that's why the reflection comes back to you and you personally, and looking at how this energy is unfolding for us all, because it is intense, right? And it can be, um, it can get very crazy, and we're standing in a powerful crossroads. And Neptune doesn't always deceive us through others, right? Sometimes it shows us where we've been deceiving ourselves, the mask we've worn, the identity where we have outgrown. And the emotional narrative is that we've repeated so many times, we think it must be true, right? If you repeat something over and over and over again, you believe it's true. And this is where it's like, with the moon in Scorpio, feelings are real, but feelings are not always fact, right? Feelings, you can feel like, yeah, I feel horrible today. I'm upset. I'm mad, blah, blah, blah. But they're not the facts. You got to step out of the feelings to get the facts. And the way we are is like, people have so much emotions and rising up, right? The everybody, of course, we all have an opinion on everything. I know I do. Today, my love, the moon is in Scorpio today. So, I'm developing my emotional intelligence. Let me just bring up let's see if I can do this. Do chat today, chat today. There we go. Do a little share. I'll do a share. Uh, that's the chart today. Um, and down here it'll tell you the sun, and then the moon is at 4 degrees, and Pluto in Aquarius over here is at 5 degrees. It's retrograde. So this is pretty much a perfect square that's going on over here with everything. And then it's also squaring over to Mercury. So having a square over to Mercury over here as well. Just off the square, not really a perfect one. Um, and then we also have the square over to where are we? Do. Lovely Mars. So he's squaring both. I mean, the moon is squaring both the rulers of Scorpio. So there will be a lot of emotions that are going to be coming up here, because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Mars is the old ruler of Scorpio. So emotions are going to be rising up, and we really have to watch that as it comes through. And then also with the sun, that is going to be getting that trine or that square over to Neptune. Hence, if you're feeling overwhelmed and everything, and especially with that, looks so professional when you do a share. I know, it's just so professional. I try. So when you look at the sun, and the sun being up here, when you're looking at the sun and it's squaring over to lovely Neptune, it is to get that focus, to get, what is it that I need to look at, what do I need to be uh, doing at this time. So you might find it difficult to do that. Now the thing is that Neptune also, as I say, doesn't always want to cause you to be delusional. It doesn't always want you to cause, it wants you to it brings you to a spiritual place, and it wants you to rise to that spiritual place. Now, especially in Aries, it wants to get things done. It doesn't like Aries. Aries is fire, it's sparky. It would rather be floating in the water, or, doing anything other than being in Aries. Okay. And plus, Aries ruled by Mars. Mars is just like an annoyance to Neptune, because Neptune likes to do his own thing, and he doesn't like to be bossed around. And then, of course, you got Saturn in there, who wants to bring everything into into an organization. How do you organize it? How do you organize your thoughts? How do you organize the things that you do on a day-to-day basis and not let them to get out of control, especially being in Aries. Aries is the entrepreneur. It's the idea person. It's the person who comes in with all of this new ideas and sparks, right? And sometimes it doesn't follow through, right? It likes to get other people to do the stuff or get other people in order. That's why, Aries can work very well with a Capricorn person because it can get things in order. Like Capricorn's like, yeah, give it to me. I'll get this going. Capricorns can get very excited over a project and getting people together and wanting to share it. Aries is very much that mind, that thought of here it is, let's get it going, right? And then you bring in the Leo, you want to bring in the passion and let's get going, right? And the Aquarius is like, okay, what kind of communities are we going to get together with this? What's going to happen? And then the Gemini could be the communicator to get it out, the marketer, right? I have it all planned out in my head. So this energy is really getting us to really look at things in a way and step outside of the box. Hence, the Queen of Swords reversed. You're not going to get all the answers directly. And it can get very frustrating and very overwhelming. So you got to step outside the box, right? And when you step outside the box, you're able to see things in a clear fashion. But many times we get sucked in to everything and we get sucked into the emotions. We get sucked in that this UFO is coming to Miami and sucking people up. I want to see it. But it's like, okay, let's take a step back and let's take a real look at things in a logical way, in somewhat of a logical way. With so much intensity in the skies right now, you'll find it might be a little bit more difficult because people get a little bit attached to things, right? And I'm going to stop the share. And when people get attached to things and attached to the outcome, that's when things can get crazy. So if you're driving, I would definitely watch. People are going to get a little bit cray cray. Now, going to where Mercury's going to be retrograding in Cancer, this is where communications are going to get lost. This is where you can get a lot of family arguments coming up. This is where people are going to get feeling the insecurity of the world and the transitions that are happening. The other thing too that's happening. I'm going to share this back again. I got to share it back again. So bear with me. Is that we are going to be having a full moon in Leo coming up, right? So we not in Leo, in Cancer, in Capricorn, sorry. So we've got a full moon that's coming up in Capricorn. And this full moon that's coming up in Capricorn, in that we are going to have Mercury go retrograde. Jupiter is going to be entering Leo. Okay. So we have, and then Mars is going to be going into Taurus and meeting up with Uranus. This isn't so much, this is like a lot of changes, a lot of shifts all happening at almost simultaneously. And when we get a lot of shifts like that happening, what can happen here on our earth, we're going to find a lot of people that are feeling disconnected, disjointed, especially in Capricorn. We want to ground things out. We want to ground, want to have that grounding. Uranus up here in Gemini is like throwing ideas out there, throwing energy out there. And then Mars coming in there, it's like, I need to have the structure of this. I need to get going on this. Right. And then Mars or Mercury over here will be going retrograde. It's saying, no, you got to slow down. You got to think of it. You got to process it. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. And then over here, the moon says, no, let's all ground it out. And a lot of the planets are right up, are all up in one area. So that's a lot of condensed energy. That's what they call a cradle. And when you see a cradle, cradles are good, right? They're really good. but cradles can cause a lot of confusion. It can cause where people are misunderstanding, misspoke at the time. The last time we've had such a cradle like this was in World War II, right? So that's the other energy that's coming in, is that this energy of combustion, of, misunderstandings, or people overstepping their boundaries, moving further than what they should be moving. All right. So this is where it's even for yourself. Where am I overstepping my boundaries? Where am I stretching out further than I need to? And do I need to be doing this? And what do I need to focus on for me and my family and my community? That is where the energy is. My chart is meant to be better in the second half of the year. You're not giving fun vibes. This is about coming into, have your coffee and you'll be fine. This is about coming in, and this is intense. This is intensity, right? And being in June, as I said before, June is kind of like the foggy kind of month. And then July, things really start to take off. And we're not far from July, right? July's coming in pretty quick here. And with this full moon being at the end of the month, it is very bringing in that intensity of saying we got to ground this energy out. We got to come into that grounding. And the other piece too is with Chiron, we also have a huge population that I've noticed, um, is we have a huge population of people between the ages of 47 and 50 that are going through their Chiron return. So we have a lot of energies that are coming in because we have a huge population that we haven't had that many people on Earth simultaneously going through many different astrological changes all at once. You know, many people were born with this Chiron in Taurus, right? And Taurus is going to be there for 7 years. So you may not be there yet, but there is a buildup to it. And having that buildup. And that Chiron coming in brings in a lot of things that of a review of things, a lot of shadow things, a lot of information maybe you didn't want to look at. Chiron also gets you to really look at the placements in your life and what they are. It also brings in a lot to do with, when it's in Taurus energy, your values. What do you value? Right? And with Chiron in Taurus, especially because Taurus has to do with money, your personal money, and your finances, your health, your relationships, the mundane relationships. So everything to do with your muggle little world, that's what Taurus has to do with. It's very bougie, it's very luxury. Are you overstepping these boundaries? Are you moving further beyond, as my mother would say, are you putting your hat higher than what you can reach? Right? I'm feeling I'm 52 and feel this is definitely my Chiron time to learn how to heal myself. I'm a Taurus rising. Yeah, definitely. Oh, Taurus rising, Chiron and Taurus. It is. And your rising sign is what you are rising to, what you are striving to. So that's the other thing. It's like, what are you rising to? What are you rising to understand? And it does have to do with value. With Uranus in Gemini, this is also getting us to look at how are we communicating. It's Gemini. Gemini's the twin, right? And looking at how are we connecting. It has to do with commerce. It has to do with education, not higher education like university or scholar education, but education on our day-to-day world. And looking at that. And this has to, when we look at this information, when we're looking at, especially with our charts, right? We look at the meaning of that sign it's in, and where it's happening. That's why I use Placidus. I don't use whole signs. Anybody can use whole signs, because that's giving you more of a true reading of where everything is and how the chart is broken up, right? And when we look at that type of energy, and when we're looking at it, that's why I do the full moon readings. And full moon readings are just, they're about 15 minutes, 7 to 15 minutes. I can rattle one off. Um, and giving people an idea of the energies that are coming in with this full moon and the things to look at. Sometimes if you get a lot of read, like if you get them on a regular basis, you might see a repeated pattern that keeps coming in, and that's just because where the planets are, some don't move very fast, so they still have this effect of saying, okay, are you looking at this, are you taking control of this in your life, where especially with this full moon that's happening. So, one second, let's just do this. Uh, we'll just use mine. Transits. Uh, Libra moon, that's me. Just listen to what your body wants. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't want to. I don't want to mute myself. I want people to hear me. Okay, I'll just pull up my chart as an example with everything that's going on. So, if when I look at what's going on, so the full moon is going to be in my seventh house. Seventh, closer. Yeah, no, it's going to be more in my sixth house. So, my sixth house, so it's going to have to do a lot to do with service and health, and looking at my health and how I'm taking care of myself. How am I taking care of myself? It's gonna be very close to my DC. So this is my rising, this is my descendant. So what are the things, what are the underlying details that are going on in my life at this time that are affecting the things that I do? My service, it's sixth house is Virgo. Virgo's also ruled by Mercury. Mercury's going to be going retrograde in my close to my second house, going back into my first house. So with Mercury doing that, that has to do with, okay, I have to take a closer look at, okay, there's going to be some changes that are going to be coming into my life financially. And yes, there is some big changes coming into my life financially, and that I have to review a lot and keep myself on top of this, right? So one of the things is that where I'm the only income I have is is my business, right? So that's my income coming in. It's not a steady income, it's sporadic. It sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It has, it has its crazy flows. So that I have to really take a really good review at. What are the things that I want to start to look at and start to put in place? This is a time of, if you have already started to put certain things in place, great. And I have. So I have forms I've filled out, things I've done, things like that. Always use it when I meet a man and I do a free relationship reading. I see your gemstone bracelet and I miss my shungite. Oh. So this is looking at, what is happening, how, things I have to look out for my own personal self, right? And then because I do have my moon and my rising and my ascendant here all in Cancer. So things over this next while, for this next couple months, are probably going to be quite emotional, right? With this, my son, my little dudes here in my Scorpio, they are squaring and will be squaring over to Pluto for the next several years. And I already have a square that's over to my Saturn. Yeah, their time of birth. That's hilarious. So this is where things, having to do a lot of reflection, a lot of change, a lot of transformation of energies that are coming in at this time. So understanding a little bit about your chart is really helpful with that. And the other part, I know you said you do that with relationships. It's very interesting to do relationship charts because there's so many layers within relationship charts. You could look at a relationship chart and stuff, and you look at it and it looks compatible, but there's so many other layers that of things to look at when you're looking at a relationship chart, because there could be things in there that are hidden or that you may not have noticed, right? And then you're asking, why didn't I see this? Because there's always something. There's when I've done that for people. There's a lot of things that could be very positive within the chart, but there can also be where you have to look at the mother's side or the father's side as well. What are the other things that are coming in with that chart that are some issues? Was there abandonment issues? Did the mother kick the son out at a certain time? Did she choose somebody over him? um there could be so many other things that come in there. Was there an abusiveness that was in there, and you might have to look at. And honestly, especially if he has an Aquarius moon, how does he think? How does he process things? Because an Aquarius moon is very eccentric in how they feel and how they think, right? They don't process things regularly, right? And then if they're a Scorpio, a Scorpio moon is another one. Scorpio moons can be can hide a lot that you won't be able to see, right? So understanding those other little tidbits in it, on when you look at it at first, it might look really, really good, right? And some of the free things that you do get, they'll just give you sort of an overview of like and fluff it up for you. But that's why it's really important to look at um things in detail. Scorpio rising, you're learning how to get to the depth of your emotions, right? And learning how to deal with those depths. It's not like a Scorpio sun. Scorpio rising is different. And it's different than a Scorpio moon because you're rising to these. Plus, you also have the 12th house in there. And the 12th house has a lot of karma. So when you have a lot of karma and you're dealing with Scorpio, which is the eighth house, that means you're dealing with a lot of things to do with connections when it comes to finances, when it comes to insurance and taxes, and a combination of these items as well. And you also have to look at the other part too with the Scorpio rising. What kind of abuse can come in, right? And looking at the abuse because it's the karma house. So there could have been some form of abuse, sexual abuse, some kind of taboo energy that came in there. May not be in this life, but it may be from a karmic life, from a past life that comes in, and they have to learn how to deal with it. So they might have weird sexual fetishes, right? And having those weird things. So it's quite interesting when you see a Scorpio rising, because when I do some charts and I have a few Scorpio risings, I kind of giggle. But the thing is that a lot of people say, "Oh no, that's not me." That, and then, "Oh, no, oh, that's not me." I mean, I really fucking don't care. I'm a Scorpio myself with, like, a huge stellium in my Scorpio in the 5th house, right? And it's looking at those things, and not all fetishes are bad. Some of them are really fucking weird, but not all of them are bad, right? And they might have a prone to not wanting to deal with reality, with the Scorpio rising. Scorpio risings are kind of funny, and it's all depending what, their sun and their moon sign is as well. So they might have a conflict dealing with that Scorpio, because Scorpio is not a light sign. Scorpio is one of the harsher signs, right? Because it really gets you to look at shit, right? And emotional shit. And then you got the Sag that just, ugh. Sag risings are funny because Sag risings are like, oh, oh, do I have to do that? They're very extravagant. So it's quite interesting. Cancer Sun, Gemini Moon. Woo! Cancer Sun, Gemini and Gemini Moon. Um, because cancers feel everything. Cancers feel things, right? They feel people that have come in the room, right? They and sometimes, with the Gemini are just like, they're the truth sayers. They want to come out with the truth. The Cancer is like, I want to hold my position and make sure, things are together, things are fine. I want to make sure security is fine. But that Gemini energy that comes in of wanting to say things, and Scorpio just takes you right down to the depths of saying, okay, are you feeling this correctly? Are you feeling the truth of all of this? And the Gemini, it's because it's the air and it's mutable, and you got a cardinal sign and a fixed sign. The Gemini comes in, and that they can have a lot of issues when it comes to their digestive system, their esophagus, the whole bit. So they can have a lot of internal problems. They can get kidney problems too. So the fear, because Geminis deal with, the two sides, the left and the right. So when they can, because they'll hold things down, so they could end up with kidney, bladder infections. Um, and then Scorpio deals with bowel movements and things like that. So they could actually have an IBS issue as well with that, and especially being a Cancer sun. So medically, there could be a lot of things that go on with them as well, right? And that, so this is where it's wanting to, when you look at the whole picture of things and understanding that whole energetic field, and how you work with that energetic field, right? How are you working with it? How are you dealing with it? Are you ignoring it? Are you bypassing? Are you just doing a spiritual bypassing, or are you embracing it? Right? I'm feeling everything before him. If he has something going on, extreme or internal, I know before him. Yeah, because they hold it. Water signs aren't, air signs and fire signs are more emotional than water signs, on the front end. Um, I find water signs will keep their emotions, but they keep them to themselves. Water signs don't like to be by people, right? They will process things in a different way, and feel them in a different way. So they have a different way, where of course with air signs and that, they're just like blah, and they say things, or they just see it. They don't get into the depths of things, kind of thing. They'll just say it, or and then they don't realize that they've said things in a way that may have hurt you. Where fire signs are just like, they're fire. They can mix in, and they can go all over the place, right? And then just be that fury, and you just have to let them burn out, kind of thing. Water and fire can be, where you can have the water can actually get the water, fire can make the water boil and boil over, and so it can be very toxic relationship. The other part too is that too much water can be thrown onto where they lose their passion, they lose their stamina. So finding the balance is important. And I think no matter what the relationship that comes over time, and that where it comes back into where Chiron is, especially in Taurus, it comes back into your values, on where your values are right now, and how that those values reflect to your world, to your life, and to how you communicate with other people. And that's very important, right? So it's important in understanding that and understanding how you are projecting that into your world. A lot of people's values are changing, and where you find where I've I have a lot of well, I know a lot of lesbians, and I've had a lot of lesbians in my community for a very long time. I love them. I love my gay community, I really do. And but my the lesbians I know and the gays I know are they're starting to speak out. They're starting to speak out about the LGBTQ plus community. They're starting to speak out about all that because they're like, this does not represent me. Pride thing does not represent me. So you're seeing the change in values. You're seeing where people are starting to speak out, saying, "No, that doesn't that that doesn't reflect my values. Don't throw that on me. That's not mine." Right? I might look butch, but I'm a woman, right? I can make you a sandwich, but I'm not going to be putting on a frilly dress, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like same with, some gay guys. It's like you look at him, yeah, he's gay, but he's not going around prancing like a little princess. He could be very masculine, he could be very strong in who he is. He's just attracted to men. So be it. He's not trying to do anything perverted. This is between them, and that's the same with others. It's just where they're now starting to speak out because values are changed. Values, they're starting to say, this value that you have put out into our community is hurting everybody. It's hurting everybody, right? And it's hurting our society, and it's hurting the way that we function as human beings. So we're starting to see things that are changing, and that where these some of these values have always been a part of a lot of people are now rising up because people are speaking about it. A lot more people are speaking about in certain religions coming in and saying they don't jive with us, right? They don't jive with us. And people are challenging this. They're speaking out about this and saying this does not jive with us, right? And I love it when people are able to do that. Like, I'm not a person who's very good at debates and shit like that. That's just because it takes me a long time to process. It's my Cancer energy. It takes me a long time to process it, and then I can come out and speak. But the knowledge, when people have knowledge of certain of say the Bible, and they have knowledge of the Quran, and they have knowledge of the Hindu religion, and they have knowledge of the Sikh religion, and bringing that up and then having a conversation with somebody, right? Having those conversations. And when you have those conversations and you bring up facts to the opponent, and then they can't rebuttal on it, that's what I love. I love to see that. I love to see, okay, oh wow, all right, they really know their shit, kind of thing. Because it's human. We are human beings. Not all humans get along. Not all belief systems gel together, right? And in that's where we're finding, especially with the energies coming in, things coming up. And yeah, there's going to be eruptions. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that say, okay, no, this isn't the way that we want to live anymore. Right? We want to live in a more harmonious place where we feel safe, there is security, but we don't want rules and regulations put on us by a foreign entity or a government that wants to oppress us as humans. This energy is showing us that we want to thrive, we want to grow. And that's where some of the conflicts come in, because our inner conflicts of where we want to thrive and what we want to do as human beings is being pushed into a way that, okay, it's got to come up. And that's what happens when Uranus is in Gemini, because all of a sudden people can't shut the fuck up. Truth has to come out, and it comes out in a higher form. It comes out in a way that brings in where, no, we're not going to do this. This is not what we're going to do. We're not going to put up with this. Like, even with going to take the UK with the new prime minister coming in, he's up in taxes in a big way, and this is going to rebuttal on him. This is going to come back on him, because people are like, oh, that sounds good, but then what are you doing over here? Kind of shit, right? So a lot of energies are going to be coming up, and a lot of things are going to be surfacing, and some of them are things that have surfaced before, and we've gone through a time where, okay, it's got to come up, and then we have to basically start over again, and start with a new concept, new ideas that are more in alignment with our values as a community. And as I say, not everybody can live together with everybody else. We can try, we can have respect for them. Like, I have respect for you. You go live and you go do what you need to do over here. Don't enforce that upon me, though. That's not my values. That's not my belief system, right? So that's where a lot is going to be coming in of change, but it is, it's going to happen faster than what people expect. I'm shocked at the amount of people who believe in the government. Oh, so am I. So am I. See why I can't live in Canada? I would be in jail with this mouth. Well, I should be in jail too. I it is what it is. Um, the thing is that I'm happy where I am in Canada. Would I love to live somewhere else? Yes. But I also have a husband who's a diabetic and who has medication for high blood pressure and other issues, and has a pacemaker. Could my husband have gotten everything that he got if we lived somewhere else? No. Would he have gotten a pacemaker that quickly if we lived somewhere else? If we lived in the United States, probably not, because we may not have had the proper insurance or anything else. If we lived in another country, having that money coming up right away. So I feel blessed on where I am at this time. And there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons. Do I like living in Calgary? The weather sucks. The weather sucks, right? Um, it's where we've talked about it. Even if we went back to Trinidad and stuff, we would have to make sure we have proper insurance to go back to Trinidad. And exactly, nowhere is perfect. So, uh, you know, my ideal is Hawaii. Hawaii, California, California. High taxes. Come out to Okotoks. No, it's too far away. Too far away from my family. That's the whole thing, is that it was my family and my kids. The separation's not gonna happen. France. Oh, rule France. I would, yes, rule France. And the other thing too is that France does have a really good medical system, right? It does. It has a really good medical system. If you were in the UK, you wouldn't gotten better treatment. You would have gotten better treatment. Not with the wait lists. The UK has gone down in the last several years, especially with their AHS, and that's just from people that I talk to, and things like that. Yes, it's a socialist government, same here as we have here, and the setup as well. We had at the Foothills Hospital gets the top heart specialists in the world. Um, so Steve had he had a South African guy, which was funny, and who did his heart, and he's one of the top specialists in the world that did that. Oh, that could be. Maybe he is. Just I people I just talked to. Um, and it's all depending what you need, right? If you're sitting in the ER, most people in the ER don't need to be in the fucking ER, right? I'm just saying. That's not real, there are, there are people who are that do need to be there. There's are people that don't. I'm just saying the Foothills Hospital here in Calgary, we were very blessed, to have that. Same in Penticton, we had the top pediatricians in all of BC there. So, you know, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, every place is different. South Africa has a fabulous system. South Africa, very good system. And it is for all people in South Africa. So they have, I mean, that's why a lot of the doctors came to Canada, right? Because of everything that goes on. But they produce the top doctors. Some of the top doctors in the world come from South Africa. They are fabulous. The one doctor who stitched up my son's eye, he was from South Africa because of him and his brother were fooling around. The pipe was sticking outside. I didn't put I usually took the tap off because of my kids on the outside tap, but he tripped over the pavement in the back and then he hit his eye right along here and he just missed his eye by a millimeter. Went to the doctor, and the doctor, who was from South Africa in Penticton, stitched it up perfectly. Could hardly see the scar. And we were joking. He goes, "That's because he did so much stitching when he was in Johannesburg, because of the hospital and all the wounds that would come in the hospital of a lot of tribal war, like a tribal war, and fights and that would happen, and then they'd come to the hospital and you'd stitch them up and stuff like that." And he goes, he got very proficient on doing fine stitching, putting people's eyeballs back in and shit like that. So this is very every there's different places around the world. Had a friend whose wife, they're they don't live in the UK anymore. They live on the Isle of Man, but they went to Thailand and his wife was having issues, and in England, the doctors, the waiting and everything else. In one day, she saw the specialist, she saw the doctor, sent her to a specialist, got the x-rays, got an MRI, got the booking in with the surgeon, from the specialist to the surgeon, had all of that done, and it cost them 200, and got the surgery done in less than 2 days. It's depending where you are in South Africa. I have people who live in South Africa. I know, my one of my good friends who lives in Victoria. It's all depending where you are in South Africa. There are areas in South Africa that are absolutely beautiful. They don't have issues with anybody else. Everybody lives together and works together. It's really, really beautiful. Um, it's again, yeah, if you're living in the heart of Johannesburg, yeah, it's gonna be fucking crazy, right? And stuff like that. But then you have places that are along the coast and along, that people have lived for many, many years. And it's absolutely beautiful and they love it. So again, it's the energies are coming in. Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? How do you want to bring in and create what you want to do? Right? What do you want to create? Calgary weather sucks at times. Other times is just beautiful. Kind of like Calgary, right? Africa is very diverse. I mean, the thing is that you want to go live in Africa. Where in Africa do you want to go live? I mean, it's different in all different parts of Africa, and their priorities and the way they live are different than yours. So that's the other part too, is understanding. That's why not everybody can live together, right? They have different ideas, different priorities, different values, different morals, right? And how they do things, right? Yeah. So it's sending out those positive vibes everywhere. Anyways, I got to get going. I've been on here for over an hour. And gonna make my husband a cup of tea. He just did the lawn, the front lawn. So, and I'm gonna send you guys out so much love. And may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. And all you say and all you do and all you be. If you want a moon reading, they're $60. If Calgary was a Slurpee, it would be a shit mix. I don't know. Calgary has its good and bad, you know? But hey, it is what it is. Love you all. Order a reading, support me, or buy me a coffee. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.